Lights on. Mics on. Let's get them likes on. The subs on. Turn on your speakers. Gang, how you doing, chat? What's good out there? Melanator, Tiff, Diego, Mary, Queen B, Mersha. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Mariah. Trey Lou, Jerome, K Jim, Colin Breezy. Listen, Poison Ivy in the building. It's a midday live. You got that right. I want to talk about something, gang, and I want to say this first and foremost, and I'm going to have to repeat this several times in the live because somebody's going to come in later. Somebody's going to come in later and say, Challz, I knew it. I knew you was going to defend Hove. I'm going to say this several times in this live. I don't defend this. I don't agree with this. I need you guys to understand because it's going to happen throughout the course of the live. Somebody's coming in here. They're going to say, Challz, you bootlicking COON. I knew it. I knew it. You want them tickets. I knew it. I could tell by the title you was going to cape for Jay. I'm going to say this several times throughout the live, gang. I'm going to say this several times. I don't agree. The optics are bad. It's crazy. With what we got going on right now, with all that we got going on right now, it is not a good idea. Even with all the information, gang, I'm going to be here for a while. I got a lot of information. I may not have ever done a show with this much information about a topic in my history of doing YouTube. I got so much information on this, gang. It's like almost a crash dive, right? And through the course of this information, you're going to see things one way or the other. And I know as I'm giving you the information, I'm going to be like Walter Cronkite right now. I'm going to be like Ted Koppel. I'm going to be like Barbara Walters. This is going to be one of the first times you do not get my opinion up and throughout the video. I'm going to be just giving you the facts, right? How Inspector Deck say and RZA, investigative reports, right? How Wu-Tang say. Remember that song, investigative reports? I'm doing investigative reports right now, right? So, but I'm going to have to say this because you guys know me for being opinionated. And so some people are going to come in thinking that they already got my opinion made up because the title. Hove and Target is complicated. Okay? I see the chat filling up. I appreciate you guys coming in. We're going to have a good one today, gang. You might want to have a fish fry, right? You might want to get some waffle fries, some Diet Pepsi. We're going to be here. We're going to be here, fish with the bone in, head on, right? Oh, yeah. I'm going to say this again, just so it's clear. And I'm going to say it several times. Even with all the information, once you peel back everything that we're going to hear, and there's a lot to hear, there's a lot to decipher. There is so much to decipher that your opinion may change midway through. It may stay the same. It feels like what's going to happen is no matter how much information is given, people are going to stay on one side or the other because that's where they want to stay. And I'm going to be honest. You guys know me. I'm just 100%, 100%. I just say what I say and I do what I do. I'm never, ever going to lean towards something just because I like the person. Okay? So I'm not going to lean anyway. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about the whole thing when it's done. But I am going to keep saying, for the people who want the quick answer, the early answer, right? The early answer, does Challz agree with this? No, he doesn't. Is Challz defending Jay? No, I'm not. I need you guys to understand that. As this gets to going and we get an hour in, and I start to tell you things that may lean another way, it doesn't mean I support this. All right? But I do have some information that makes this complicated. Okay? It makes it very, very complicated. It ain't as cut and dry as the headlines would make it seem. And I'm gonna be patiently waiting for the people to come in and say, Challz, I knew you was gonna cape for him. But I'm getting this out in the first, what is it? The first 5 minutes. This ain't no Jay-Z cope. This ain't no Jay-Z caping. This ain't no Jay-Z excuses. Right? And I will be showing a little bit of Wayno's video. Now I can honestly say Wayno actually was defending Jay. This ain't that. Wayno damn near attacked everything just for Jay, and nothing like that. Okay? He made some points, but some of the video was a little too aggressively. Hov is not an angel, he's not a saint. But he told you who he was and he never backed away. Now, it's like I said, it's complicated, gang. Right? PNW, I see you, Hummingbird, Queen B, Gracie, I Got Fame TV, Diego, Miss Hummus, right? I see you guys, Couch Potato, Tom G. Listen, man. Positively Pepper Jones, The Journey, Nikki. It's gonna be a long one. I'm telling you that right now. You guys got some mashed potatoes with butter. Might want to start heating that up. But I'm gonna say this on repeat. I am not here to defend Jay. Gang, right now, you might as well call me Walter Cronkite. Right? Because I'm just giving you the news. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know. So you can, when you go on Twitter and you make these hard stances on stuff, you need to know that it's other issues. It's it's complicated, gang. I'm going to be honest. This almost one of them things that if you take a hard stance on, then you kind of already felt that way about the person in the beginning of the situation. Because it's so complicated and convoluted that it makes you say, okay, we need to understand this fully, right? Before we start saying, okay, demonize them. get the rack and quarters, like, just, you know what I mean? The pitchforks, right? Stretch them out. It is very, very complicated. Okay? Now, let's start at the start. I'm going to talk to you like it's you and me. Then I'm going to get into a couple videos. Mad videos, gang. Mad videos. Because there's a lot of people talking about this. And there is a lot of people that are standing one side or the other. Right? Salute the Beast Nation for the super chat. I appreciate you. I'm here at work, got me working day and night. There it is. There is so much to unpack with this, right? Where you need all the information. First things first. Black people decided to boycott Target. There was a concerted effort to boycott Target because they decided to remove their DEI in initiatives, right? Let me get this up here. I'm going to get this up here and I'm going to read it for you because it's important to get this correct. It's very complicated. This whole thing starts at the Target boycott. Okay? The Target boycott starts everything in motion. Then we get to Jay-Z. We get to the vinyls. We get to the so-called deal that he made. We get to the fact that other rappers have already got exclusive vinyls in there after the boycott started, such as J. Cole, right? These are not whataboutisms, gang. These are facts. So we're gonna run through all of the facts. Like I said, somebody gonna come here and say, Challz, you caping. But I'm just giving you the facts before you start to think I'm making excuses for Jay. This ain't that. I disagree with Jay making this move. I need to say this over and over and over and over. I disagree with this move. But two things can be true. Okay? I disagree with what he did. Right? Why did black people boycott Target in the first place? Black shoppers and faith leaders are boycotting Target in protest of the retailer's decision to roll back its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, which is DEI, including a previous pledge to spend $2 billion with black-owned businesses. The movement began in early 2025, and it centers on several specific grievances. So we don't just have an issue with Target as a people because of the DEI. When George Floyd was murdered, right? I know we can all agree on that. When George Floyd was murdered, the city where he was murdered at is headquarters of Target. Target took it upon themselves to say, we feel your pain and we are going to donate $2 billion to black-owned businesses. Okay? This was before he who shall not be named was elected president. When he who shall not be named got elected president, they had already had plans in motion to discredit and disparage us and take away everything they deemed as privileges. And DEI was one of those things because we are so privileged, right? We didn't need no more handouts, no more privileges. Time to use your boots. Pull yourself up by those bootstraps, like they like to say. We're not getting into all that today, but let's just say that is malarkey and it's BS. Because every time we try to get our own boots, they took our boots, took the socks and everything else. Burnt it down, made sure we wasn't able to have no boots. And here we are, okay? But he who shall not be named and his administration started this war on us, which is a psychological and spiritual war. They try to reverse even the basic concept of racism, fascism, slavery, Jim Crow, all of that stuff. They want to erase that from schools and the history books and make it like it never happened. There's a bigger issue as to why they would want to do that. It's a lot of issues to that, but I'm just gonna give you the short answer. The short answer is to make it look like we just suck because we just wanted to. And we're behind them in the wealth margin because we just are lazy. Okay? There are real answers to these questions, why we're behind in the wealth margin, the medium, and why we're behind in education, schooling, jobs. We're behind in a lot of things, but that's called systemic racism, and a lot of things were happening to put us there. Okay? So this is how we got here. That administration has an agenda to erase all of that, right? It started with white guilt, but then it got much deeper and darker. And by erasing those things, good and bad, right? They pulling us out of the museums. They're trying to have this whole thing where they want everything to look equal. Meanwhile, it's not about looking equal, right? It's not about looking equal. It's taking our accomplishments away and trying to minimize us as a people and as a race. And the short answer is we're screaming and beating on our chests about reparations. Well, a lot of these kids, these Gen Z kids, sooner or later, they're going to be in power. And if they have all this information ready to them about the beatings, the murders, the enslavement, the captivity, the separation of families, the lynchings, if they have all that information, the redlining and the poor schools by design and the burning down of our businesses when they start to be successful in the taking of our property at any given moment, running highways through because they felt like it and dispersing us and displacing us. If they have all that information at their fingertips, they might give us that reparation money one day. It's inevitable because the Gen Zers they're smart. They're getting smart, right? I know people like to say Gen Zers are dumb. They're not. They're getting smart and they're learning. And what's going on is they don't want them to see that Paw was an actual slave. I mean, he was a racist, and the Paw before him was a slave owner. And a lot of the money that they're coveting right now came from slaves. Can't have them knowing that. Okay? We're going to get to Jay-Z. Now, I need y'all to know I don't agree with it. I'm going to repeat this over and over because somebody going to come in. There you go. Caping for Jay-Z. But I need you to understand what's going on. All right? So, in this desire to crush and quelch what we got going on in the handouts that we receive, because it's going to destabilize us and make us worse, then you can start saying, okay, send the military in. Take away all that welfare and all that wick we giving them, all that free milk, all that cheese. See what happened to them then. And we get destabilized, and then we're out there wilding, and then they send in the military, and now you in chains working for 2 cents a day, or 25 cents a day, whatever it's going to be. You're back in slavery. All right, so let's just start there. There's a big picture thing going on, gang, but you guys stay with me, okay? Stay with me. And I've been screaming this for years on this very channel. I always tell you, I don't do it often, but when I do it, I do it. And I appreciate those emails from them. It's mostly old elder people in their 50s, 60s, 70s that tell me, Charles, don't you ever lose your voice. Keep talking. Keep telling them, keep schooling these kids. And that's what I'm going to do. So what's going on at this point is they want to dismantle these programs. Because for one, the program, even just existing, the program even existing means that there is an issue. There is an issue. It is a deficit that needs to be addressed. So if you wipe all the programs, what deficit? What issue? Then that racist guy on Twitter can be like, you guys are criminals and animals, and there's no reason for you to be like this. They literally try to tell you there's no such thing as systemic racism. They try to tell you that on Twitter. It's crazy. So with this new administration, they had a full-on agenda to make sure any of these advantages that we have, like DEI, they demonize it and make it like it was unfair for them. Somehow, the ones who have absolutely no oppression are somehow being oppressed by this initiative to help the oppressed. And yes, some of those oppressed are women, and some of those oppressed under the law are white women. And I know a lot of you get hung up on that, but stay focused. Because when the white woman get fired, she gonna find her way around. When we get fired, we in a whole lot of trouble. So you guys like to focus on white women get DEI. That's not our concern, okay? I'm concerned about us. Okay, just so you know. A lot of people got caught up on that and they agreed with this administration. A lot of black people. That's why we divided now. That's why the Target boycott is in trouble. It really didn't work like it was supposed to. They lost billions, but it should have been way more. Okay? Because we are extremely divided. Without a question, someone will come in this chat and start talking about he who shall not be named is a great guy. So we can't even decide. We can't even decide on that. Okay? So when they decided to burn down and demonize these incentives, and let me say this, I'm gonna say this every couple minutes on the dot. I'm not defending Jay-Z, gang. I need you to, people just coming in. It's not about defending Jay-Z. I don't agree with what he did. We're gonna get there though. Okay. So when they decided to burn down these initiatives, which would destabilize us, some corporations were incentivized or almost mandated to end it, because they made it so they turned DEI into such a dirty word. Just like I tell you all the time, all they got to do is make your favorite word. All they got to do is take it and twist it and turn it. Like you love the word culture, right? They started to demonize that 2 years ago. We used to, woke was one of ours. That was our special word, right? It's painful to be this woke. Oh, they demonize woke now. You can't even say woke. They took that from us, gang. Oh yeah, because that was a very powerful word to us. We were woke. Stay woke, my brother. Right? Stay woke. They took that, made that a bad word. And they made DEI a bad word. And by the time they got that buzzword out there on Twitter, but forget it. Everybody black was DEI. Homeboy said if he walk on the plane and see a black pilot, he's worried about making it home safe. It got so bad, right? It got so bad that everybody of color, no matter what your skill level was, no matter how smart you were, no matter how many degrees you had, no matter how much work you did to get that job, they walked in the room, your ass was DEI and you didn't belong there. A lot of you got caught up in the fact that white women benefited from that, but that was never the point, gang. It was never about them white women. It was a way to detract. They were having full-on conversations about whether people that was color even deserved jobs at all. They went 50, 60 years back, gang. They went 50, 60, 100 years back. Are these guys even qualified to do the most basic of things, or can we get a good white guy in here to do it? Oh, yeah. It got real. Okay? So the DEI was supposed to even that out and eliminate a lot of that, because it was proven in the court. They don't make these things for no reason. DEI was proven to be a necessity in a court of law. That means they had to back it up with stats and all kind of figures and this, that, and the third to prove that DEI was necessary. They don't just hand you stuff, gang. Nobody just snapped their fingers one day. It was like, we shall have DEI. It wasn't like that. People had to fight in court for that. All right, let me finish this thing before we get any further. The movement, which is the boycott, and they were calling it a fast, right? It was half boycott, and then there was a fast was for the spiritual people. A fast, you don't do a fast forever. You do that for a time, and then you get back. So some people were fasting on Target, and some people were full on boycotting it, and we couldn't even decide on that as a black people. And the people that started are fighting against each other. It's every time we start something, we fight, and we ruin the whole thing. Ruin the whole thing. But this is why we are where we are. Okay? The movement, which began in early 2025, centers on several specific grievances and demands. This is the boycott. One is dismantle DEI initiatives. Activists are protesting the retailer's decision to abandon its racial equity action and change REACH program and walk back corporate diversity goals. These corporations had goals they had to meet. Written goals they had to meet, promises to black people to keep black people employed. Mind you, several 100,000 black people are still work at Target right now. Let me finish. Broken promises was the number 2 reason. Participants view the rollback as a betrayal of the financial and institutional commitments Target made to the black community following the 2020 murder of George Floyd. Number 3, community demands. Organizers, including grassroots coalitions in Minneapolis and national leaders like Reverend Jamal Bryant, have demanded that Target invest $250 million in black-owned banks and expand support for business programs at HBCUs. There's not one Target at a HBCU, but they're in different colleges. I just heard today there are 27 different colleges. They're not at any HBCUs, right? And number 4, those are black colleges for people that don't know. Number 4, and they try to take our HBCUs, gang. I don't know if you guys understand how real this shit got. And when people don't know this stuff, they were questioning the need to just even have HBCUs. At one point, we had to defend that. They were calling us racist for having our own schools, gang. You guys don't understand what's going on. Let me continue. Number 4, economic leverage. The boycott utilizes the historical blueprint of economic blackouts, utilizing the black community spending power to demand corporate respect and ongoing representation. I just heard in a video today that black people spend $12 million a day in Target. While some church leaders have formally concluded a 40-day Target fast and sacred protests, many grassroots activists continue to organize, stating the boycott will not end until the company fully restores its DEI commitments. Now, right? The DEI commitments. That is a drop in the bucket to what Target is supposed to be doing, because they promised $2 billion. And when he who shall not be named got elected, it started this whole war against us and our culture in the so-called, I guess, privileges and handouts. Target decided they were going to roll that way because there was a lot of pressure, gang. There was a lot of people folding. A lot of these social media owners folded up their tents, all that diversity stuff. They folded it up too. Facebook, Twitter, all of these guys ran to the White House to get that photo out and dropped all that diversity stuff. So it wasn't just Target. A lot of companies, Amazon, Bank of America, a lot of companies folded up their tent. Now I believe it was Jamal Bryant said to kill an elephant, you got to start one piece at a time. That's why they started with Target, but it's a whole bunch of companies that did it. So people started boycotting Target, and there were people who didn't agree with the boycott. They was like, I don't care. Right? Don't care. Right? So we kind of did it, kind of didn't. And like I keep saying, we had a bunch of black businesses. Target had put a bunch of black entrepreneurs in Target. And when that boycott came, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, because all of those companies, entrepreneurs who got put in there, Tabitha Brown and others, right? They had just got in there. Well, they got taken out because who's going to buy them if black people ain't buying them? Right? I want to read what Bing just said. I work for a very large healthcare administration. They allowed Juneteenth off years ago and then rolled it back once this man was elected. Our university still has the day off. Gang, they rolled back everything when this guy, because it is a concerted effort to take back the handouts and to minimize what we've done. They're trying to, if they sooner or later they're going to make a reason to take down the African American Museum. They're going to make a reason to take it down. I don't know if you guys think we're just yelling wolf. They're already removing stuff from the museum. They're removing Tuskegee Airmen out of the different museums. They're doing all kind of stuff. But they're going to tell you that if it's for this reason, that reason, or the third. But for some reason, it's all the black stuff going down. So we have a boycott in place. It did. I know they lost upwards of $1 billion and more. I don't know the exact number. Let's Google it. Let's Google it. We're going to find out right now. All right, so it says Target's boycotts have directly cost the company more than $12 billion in market value. The overall shareholder losses exceeding $20 billion since the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion DI initiatives. The resulting slump in foot traffic and revenue forced a significant drop in stock price and resulted in CEO Brian Cornell's departure. So it did work, gang. I've been saying this for this last year. I said when I was doing this, I was still in the car doing my videos. And I returned to the car here and there. But if you go back and watch my videos, I said we're costing Target billions with this boycott. And I'm here for it. Right? Now you got to ask yourself, all of this is happening and Jay-Z has to see it. Right? Jay-Z have to see it. Gang, I'm going to just give you the facts. Homeboy said, actually, they stock went up 20%. Somebody in the chat said that. I don't believe you. Right? Things recover, gang. Things recover. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm reading right here, that they lost 20 billion from us. Right? So let me continue. Now, we're at a point now where I'm gonna be honest with you, gang. It's gonna be some harsh truths in here. We lose focus. We lose focus. Time passes by. We start to kind of loosen the reins. And the boycott becomes a little less important. Mind you, you got the people who started the boycott infighting. 3 different factions infighting. The Jamal Bryant guy telling people that the boycott's over. Oh, yeah, it was all over the place. So that was back in 2025. Now, it's 2026. Jay-Z is doing exclusive vinyl, and a lot of people are getting caught up on the word exclusive. Caught up on the word exclusive. Let's talk about it. I want to get it in writing because I know what happened, but I want to get it in writing. I want to get it, the wording, so you can understand. All right. Okay, so. All right. The Jay-Z exclusive Target vinyl refers to a special collector's edition of his landmark 1996 debut album, Reasonable Doubt, released to celebrate its 30th anniversary. Okay? Great album. One of my favorite albums, right? I was there. I listened to Reasonable Doubt when it dropped. I used to bump that thing constantly, right? This is where the legend of Jay-Z began, with Reasonable Doubt. So we can't take nothing from him. It's 30 years. He waited 30 years. This is what him and Dame Dash was fighting over. He finally got it back, and this is all he's been trying to do since he broke up with Rockefeller, right? So let's pull this up. The release is a creamy white double LP featuring premium packaging and exclusive unreleased track versions available only through Target. The partnership and the resulting controversy carry deeper meaning across music, business, and cultural levels. 1. Music and collectability. The special edition retails for $40 and gives fans a rare aesthetic alternative, white vinyl, alongside unreleased versions of classic tracks. like the Fool's Paradise remix of Can't Knock the Hustle. So there are going to be remixes on here. It's going to be white, right? You can't just get it anywhere. If you want the white version, the white vinyl with the remixes, you have to get it on this exclusive Target release. All right. So that tells you what you get for your $40. It's going to be 2 white vinyls in there, and it's going to have unreleased music. Now, for a collector, this is major. You're gonna have that. You're buying that. And no, it's not a niche. Vinyl is not niche anymore. Vinyl is making up a huge portion of sales because vinyl is back. People got record players again. I used to get in trouble blasting my record player in my house, right? Me and my mom used to live. So we lived in this apartment, and she wasn't supposed to have no kids living there, right? R.I.P. to my mom. And she go to work. I'm blasting my record player, right? So I used to get in trouble. Mom had to come home one day, cut the cord off of it because I wouldn't listen. But record players are back in style. And for a time, it's good because everybody is buying records again. They're buying vinyls. They want the vinyl. They want to smell it. They want to take it out the case like we used to do, hold it with 2 fingers like that. Look at it. Look at the back. Flip it over. Look at the grooves of the vinyl. Put it on. They want to put their ear to the speaker. remember what was homeboy's name in that movie? Let that bass roll. Feel that bass roll, right? They want to put the record on, right? And let the bass roll, right? What was homeboy's name? Kevin Hart called him old when he said he was 50 years old. Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle had that cowboy hat. He was like, let that bass roll. Feel that bass. They want to hear that bass. They want to hear that bass roll. Right? Poet said most people I know have a record player. So, oh yeah, vinyl is back in a big way. Right? I'm going to get my vinyl. I got that vinyl on the wall right there. I bought the Star Wars Saga vinyl, and I sell vinyls. But I currently don't have access to my record player anymore. I gotta get a new one. But I say all that to say, this is a big deal. And people will go to Target. I don't know how old most of you are, but I used to walk to the mall just for the vinyl. I know that sounds weird. I used to walk to the mall. I wasn't worrying about the tape. I was buying records because I had record player. I bought my shit on vinyl. Right? So they're getting what I grew up with. We all was buying vinyl at one time. It's nothing like a big vinyl record. It's just beautiful. It's different. Right? So Jay-Z was most likely approached by Target, like all of these guys. Right? And we're going to get there. We are going to get there. But I want to start. I got quite a few videos I want you guys to peep out. Because it's a lot going on with this situation. And like people trying to make it out to be bigger than it is or smaller than it is, depending on who you're talking to. But let me get there. We're going to have a moment. We're going to talk about what actually went down with Jay-Z and this vinyl. All right. So the first video, I think I'm gonna hit you with the one. Marcus at Work. Salute the Marcus at Work media, right? I liked his video because it was insightful and it showed both sides of the conversation. And I'm going to be stopping it periodically, but I think we're all caught up so far. There was a drive to make Target amend for their misgivings of, for one, announcing a $2 billion kick out to black businesses that once he who shall not be named got elected. They dropped that, and before they even dropped the DEI, they dropped that. So let's just be clear, right? And salute to Marcus at work. He just was in the chat last night for the What Show. So they dropped the $2 billion. They never gave the $2 billion to the black businesses, according to I believe Jamal Bryan and others. They never paid that, and then they dropped the DEI. So this isn't just about the DEI, okay? So let me start with Marcus at Work Media, and the good thing about Marcus at Work Media, this is the good thing about this thing. It gives you the pros and the cons, right? It doesn't just do one thing or the other. It gives you the pros and the cons of the situation. All right. And hopefully y'all watch it from getting good this year. But let's let this play. And periodically I am going to be stopping and interjecting.
Welcome back to Marcus at Work Media. So we got Jay-Z, Hov. Started out good with the Roots Picnic freestyle, going at everybody, including Drake. Got a lot of favor, and then money got in the way.
So the boy Jay-Z inked a deal with Target. I don't think this is a good look for you, Jay-Z. I had to look up what exactly this deal was for, right? So Reasonable Doubt's 30th anniversary is coming up. He has a white pressed album, a record, a collectible record that will be sold at Targets. I'm not gonna make excuses for you, Jay-Z. Because you don't need me to make an excuse for you. You're a billionaire, I'm just a thousandaire, right? But why would you do this? Do you not have enough money? Could you not find another avenue to do this? You could have... Amazon ain't much better, but you could have done this with Amazon, bro. Why is it that every time black folks is boycotting something, you swoop in and cut some type of deal? You did that shit with Colin Kaepernick, man.
So right here, homeboys expressing how black people feel. They feel like Jay swoops in, cuts a deal. Gang, I told you, I'm not here to defend Jay. This is a complicated issue. There are many twists and turns with this, and I accept all of them. I am open to interpretation. I'm not here to defend Jay, right, wrong, or indifferent. So I'm going to give you the side of the view where a lot of black people are coming from. They're angry at Jay, and then I'm going to give you the other side. So let's keep it pushing.
You did that shit with the NFL. Now, mind you, it was black folks were still watching the NFL, but there was some sort of a boycott going on. And then you come in there with your cachet, your celebrity, and you try to ease the situation by, getting some black entertainment up in there for Super Bowls and whatnot. But now here you are doing this shit again. Like, pattern recognition is at an all-time high with black folks right now. You can't tell me that you didn't know that black folks is boycotting Target right now. Now, I don't know how many of your fans is going to be so pressed to run out to Target to get a goddamn record. Most people don't even have record players. Like, it's a very niche, small group of people who have record players.
I mean, it ain't that niche no more. It's a lot of people. It's enough people buying records for them to warrant them selling records, gang. I get what he's trying to say, and I understand. But it ain't that niche. Now, what he just said, that word he just said, and we got to talk about it. He said cachet, cultural cachet. Now, I say it all the time. I rock with Hov. And a lot of you do too. And a lot of you don't. Hov is one of the most polarizing people we have ever seen. Let's just be honest. He's more polarized than a lot of people. Because it's two sides to all of this, right? The cultural cachet, we give him that. Me, you, whoever, people that love him, hate him, doesn't matter. If he can get this much reaction one way or the other, that is cultural cachet. Enough cachet, enough juice, sauce to be able to elicit reactions from people. And in many ways, he gets good reaction from people who want to defend him. But he also gets the reaction of people that don't like him, that want to take him down, can't stand him. But all of that is given and earned for some reason. Jay been around 30 years, right? Jay been around 30 years. And we have not stopped giving him the so-called cultural cachet. I see the super chat. I'm going to get to you. We throw it on him. We love to give it to him. But then we complain that we gave it to him. And we say they use him as a pawn. But gang, you can't be used if the people don't want to accept you into the culture. So we got to look at ourselves like, what's going on? What did Jay do to earn all this cultural cachet? Right? We complain that he has it. We complain that they prop him up and walk him out. But then next week, next month, next year, we bestow it on him again. He's done some things. This is why this is complicated. We don't get K out of the Super Bowl if Hov didn't sit down with Roger Goodell and take a lot of arrows and bullets in the back and in the head and the face and the chest and everything else. And I'm going to say it right here. Let me insert this right here. I'm not defending Hov, gang. I need you guys to understand. I'm keeping it smooth for you to understand what's happening. I do not agree with the Target deal. I need you guys to understand that. I have been critical of Jay-Z before. I've been critical of Jay-Z over saying battling is dead in hip-hop. I've been critical of Jay-Z when he sold Tidal. I was very critical of that. That was one of my loudest critiques of Jay-Z for buying Tidal low and selling it high. I couldn't because I felt that he sold the artist a dream that Tidal was going to be this, that, and the third. The new artist Oasis. This was where artists would get the real money they deserve. Come on over to Tidal. We got your back. We're going to pay you more than anybody. We got this stereo sound, da-da-da. And then sold it, right? So I need you guys to understand, I am one of them guys. I take it on a case-by-case basis. So I'm not here to defend. I'm not going to ever just defend nobody blindly. I need you to understand that. Before you get in my comments and say, Challz is capable for Jay-Z. I've criticized Jay just as much as I've praised him. Okay? Let me just say that again. Because as soon as I start to point out something, that's when they come and charge you. I told you. I'm going to repeat this because I know where it's going to go. But we got the K. Dot show concert because this dude, around the Colin Kaepernick time, he jumped in there, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? And Jay has a line in his song. I don't know if you guys actually listen to what this guy says. He says, how can I help the poor if I'm one of them? Right? There are different ways to look at this. It's complicated, gang. It's complicated. I keep repeating that. While we get up and we stomp and we get mad and we say da-da-da-da, and then this guy gets inside, takes all of this, that, and the third, and then 5 years later, people be like, oh, I see why he did that. Again, I don't agree with the Target deal. I got to keep saying this, gang, because I know what's coming. I know what's coming. But sometimes you need to get inside somewhere and defeat the shit from the inside. Joining with Target is that? No, I'm telling you right now, no. But maybe in his mind, right? I'm on my Ted Koppel shit. I'm doing an essay right now. Maybe in his mind is, yes, I need to be inside so I can talk to these people and they can listen because they don't listen to nothing but money. Now, is that specifically for this? I don't think it's that deep with this Target thing. I don't think it's that deep with this specific thing. With the NFL thing, yes, I think he had a vision. I think he rubbed elbows with Roger Goodell. It was like, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to do what nobody can do out there, stomping their hands and I mean, stomping their feet, clapping their hands and trying to boycott. None of that shit's going to work. I'm going to get inside that NFL and I'm going to change that shit from the inside. And there ain't many people that could have done it. Right? And there it is. This is cope, Challz. This is cope. There it is. There it is. There it is. So end of the day, let me just keep going, gang. Let me just keep going, gang. So end of the day, salute the Cosmo. I appreciate you. So end of the day, right? We're seeing a man that took this deal, and we are upset. I am upset, just for the record. I don't know if these people know. I told you somewhere in here, I'm going to say something, and it's going to turn into you're defending him. I got to outright be whatever, right? Which I have been doing. I don't understand. But at the end of the day, now I'm coping. But let me keep this pushing.
You know, we would call them hipsters in the 2010s. But, like, why would you do this? Like, this shit is not cool. Like, how much money do you need that you would do this to your own people, man? And then you out here running around like you Bosky got and shit. Cosplaying for black culture and shit. Well, now you got the afro, right? What you gonna do? Try to clean up the deal and say that you're giving this to a charitable fund? The proceeds going to a charitable fund? No. It's the principle. It's the principle. Why do you keep doing this? You move funny when it comes to business, but I guess you have to be a billionaire.
The latest fiasco.
And so I want to, and I agree. So let me just start right there. When it does come to business, Jay has always told us who he is. We've never been in any confusion that Jay-Z doesn't do things for money. He's always told you, I'm a hustler. Let me go up to the super chat real quick before it leaves and I can't get to it. Salute the DJ Maker Say. Gotta make sure everybody go listen to Redman Muddy Waters 2. That is a fact. I keep screaming Muddy Waters 2 came out at the end of 2024. And Redman promoted it all through 2025 as a great album. He put it at the very last month of 2024, which I thought was a mistake. He put it like almost New Year's. He put it like a day or two before New Year's. I was like, no, Red, put it in 2025, but he put it in 2024. But he had a vision. He promoted it, and that was cool. Let me get to this other super chat. Appreciate you. DJ Maker Say. Now, Queen Liquid says, what's the release date? I don't know. Homebody, what's good? Right? Journey said, Challz, you should put on a t-shirt that says, I don't agree with Jay-Z. I'm going to have to. Because there are going to be facts where it makes Jay-Z look like a dirty dog. And people are going to be fine with that. When I get to the fact, one fact that says anything other than Jay-Z's a dirty dog, they're going to go in the comments and say, Challz, you coping. Challz, you. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do what reporters do. They just tell you the facts. That's what we're doing here. I'm not making no opinions. I'm not making no assumptions. I'm just giving you the facts. The facts, they say follow the facts. I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not giving you my opinion of anything. I have not said one thing of opinion since I started this video. Even what I just said about him thinking he can get in on the inside, that's a debatable fact. Why else would he get inside the NFL at a time when everybody's saying to not deal with them? You had to think you could get in there and make the change because he made the change when he got in there. And yes, he got paid to do it. The guy's never done anything for him without that wasn't money involved. He's never, I don't know why this is even a conversation. We're mad because we are the culture, we're the people affected by this Target stuff. But he's never ever been a guy that's not done things for money. So I don't know why we expect any different. It's up to us to say we're not rocking with Jay no more. That's how that works. You can't make a scorpion stop stinging. You can't make a skunk stop stinking. You can't make a leopard change its spots. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with it. But the man has never ever not talked about being a billionaire. And being a billionaire is in and of itself is grimy. You got to be grimy just to do it. For you to be a billionaire, millions of other people have to not have nothing. It's just the nature of the beast. Anybody striving to be a billionaire is taking from other people. It's just a fact. So when someone is striving to be a billion, when they say I'm trying to be a billionaire, you already know they're gonna do some things that don't jive with your soul. And ain't many billionaires doing what this guy's doing and making things on the other end for no people. They don't care about people, right? It is what it is. So light them up. I have no dog in the fight. Light them up. I'm not telling you nothing. This is really one of them conversations where I can go either way. If you hate them, then that's fine. If you love them, that's fine. I've never been so I don't know what the word I'm looking for, right? But I whatever that word is, neutral or whatever the word is you're looking for. If you got outright disgust and Jay-Z's a snake, I can't argue whatsoever with you because all the signs are there. If you love Jay and he does no wrong, I can't argue with. I am 100% not. I have no dog in the fight because I look at this thing as all I can do is look at it the way I look at it. I can't say you're wrong. I can't tell you your opinion is anything. It's certain things in this world. Yeah, a lot of things I'm gonna say, no, I stand on this. I stand on that. This thing right here, this ain't something I stand on. I stand on the DEI. I stand on my people, this, that, and the third. But what another man will and won't do, I'm not gonna sit here and argue about that. All I can do is argue about what my people need and what I'm going to do for my people and what I'm going to say and not get sucked up in and I'm going to stand on. But me telling somebody who has told us several times, a million times, how you think he got where he is, the cultural cachet? By portraying himself as this cutthroat winner that don't lose under no circumstances. He never portrays the guy that's going to take the loss. He's always come off as this corporate person. He's going to always do the thing that's going to get him more corporate money. And even when it makes you mad, he's going to do it. I don't know why people have, at some point, you just got to disconnect. Like, either he is good for it or he ain't. But trying to convince everybody else that he ain't it. You got to decide for yourself, and then everybody else got to decide for themselves. Right? So end of the day, I'm not in here coping or making excuses. I'm telling you, right? Let me finish, right? Let me finish. Like I said, it's complicated. It's complicated, right? This dude, a Drake fan in here talking about what I'm scared to say and this, not, and the third. So I want to take this comment right here, right? And like I said they're coming. He said, this dude is scared to tell us how he really feels. I said when the video started, I don't agree with it. Right? What did I tell you guys, gang? I might be a prophet, gang. I said there's going to be somebody getting that comment. No matter what I say, they're going to say he's defending Jay. I said it, I think now the 10th time. Jay's wrong. I don't agree with this move. I don't like none of it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is how we get into these things where we can't have a conversation. There can't be no nuance. There can't be no open floor. It has to be you're all in or you're all out, whether you got all the facts or not. Right? No matter what is said, if I'm not in here regurgitating a whole lot of talking points that somebody wants to hear, then I guess I'm scared and I'm coping and this, that, and the third. All right? But we're going to keep it moving. Okay, let me get back to the video. Like I said, right? It's complicated. But people don't want nuance. They want headlines. They want headlines, right? I'm going to keep saying, I know a lot of you are like, why does Challz keep saying that he doesn't agree with it? He's critical of Jay for it. Why does he keep saying it? Because people are going to get in here and say the shit that's being said in the comments, right? Doesn't matter. I told you from the beginning it's complicated. There are facts on both sides. But sure, sure. So let me continue with the video.
Controversy going on with Jay-Z is that he decided to partner with Target for an exclusive release of Reasonable Doubt. So needless to say, a lot of people are upset by this move. You have the culture that was boycotting Target for going back and backpedaling their DEI initiatives, and they seen some progress with it. Just for Jay to come along and change all of that. Is this a pattern?
Has Jay-Z paid?
Hold on. Jay can't stop our boycott. I don't know why this sounds like Jay just stopped the boycott. That's what I'm talking about. You black, you boycotting. You can be mad at Jay for all this, that, and the third, but he can't stop the boycott. So the conversation now is that Jay-Z has come in and ruined the boycott. It gotta make sense, gang. The boycott is not ruined. If we gonna boycott, we gonna boycott. It's just that simple. And we didn't even get to the fact that other rappers have done the exact same exclusive deal, including Kendrick and J. Cole. But we're going to get there.
Folks rent and help them figure out how to get these high-ass groceries and gas, and I missed the memo somewhere? Because I am always confused that whenever this man is in a headline for something seemingly controversial, folks throw on a cape like if they jumped off the bridge, Jay-Z would be at the bottom to catch him. The reality is, Jay-Z did a partnership with Target, while black folks have been saying, hey, we're not going to shop at Target. That is a problem when black people have been trying, especially in this administration, to assert our power and say that our existence, our dollars matter, and put some respect on. The same guy that made an attempt to derail an entire movement when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee during his NFL game in protest of Black lives, in protest of black folks being massacred. Then Jay-Z turns around right in the middle of this to do a partnership with the NFL and then says out of his mouth, we are beyond kneeling, as though Sean Carter had ever gotten on a knee. The same guy who posterized himself for the Barclays Arena in Brooklyn, which led to mass gentrification in his own community. And he only owned 1/5 of 1% of the Barclays Center and then sold it. The same guy who recently combed out his Basquiat wig piece, but was posed in front of this Basquiat painting with the Tiffany diamond. And Basquiat's former assistant coming out and saying, hey, Basquiat was actually an anti-capitalist. This is disrespectful to his work. The same guy that was sitting at this very table, busting it up with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. In all of this time that Target has been consistently a part of conversations with regards to the black community and a boy, they still have yet to come out and specifically state that they stand 10 toes behind the black community. And like, he legitimately don't even need to partner with Target. Like, is everybody okay?
So a lot of people are looking around asking themselves.
So let me just say this. She cooked. Everything she said is facts, right? And I need you guys to understand. Jay does a lot of things suspect in regards to business, in regards to our community. So that's never the question. We that ain't even a question. That sometimes we need to say, okay, Jay, and I said it several times, when he does something suspect, oh yeah, I'm the first one to say that. Right? So this whole thing with the nets and gentrification, all of that, right? All of that was detrimental to a lot of people's lives. And there may be a reason he has in his own head, but for the end of the day, he's never shown us nothing but I am 100% a capitalist. And I'm going to do what capitalists do. Okay? So, end of the day, we have almost misconstrued. And when I say this, they're gonna say, "You coping," right? But at the end of the day, when we've seen a man be consistent with how he makes his money, how he makes his decisions, but then you still want to expect him to do something different or getting mad when he don't, at some point, it's on you, right? I gave up years ago trying to think Trump was going to do the right thing, this, that, and the third, or he wasn't bad. After a while, you realize, yeah, he's not good. He don't have it in. He don't have sitting here complaining. Like, let's call it a buck. That's like me sitting here complaining every day that Trump didn't do this and Trump didn't do that. Imagine that. Now, criticizing him, yeah, we could do that. But imagine sitting here mad that he didn't just make it make sense. Criticizing and getting mad at him is two different things. I expect our president to do the asinine things he does. I expect it. I don't get mad about it. I expect it. And I criticize. You go on my Twitter, it's nonstop this, that, and the third, critical of this guy, critical of ICE, critical of bad police, everything. My page is super black. I'm for the people. Right? Now, end of the day, if I was expecting more, then I would expect more, right? But I don't expect more. Let me continue this thing right here.
It's like, why, Jay? Why? Now, some people was like, listen, this is selective outrage. You know Jay gonna make that money. This is not nothing new. It's no big deal. The hard copy is still available through Jay's website. Now, it gotta be some difference because why else would they say it's exclusive?
Sometimes you are able to see different things when you take your bias off, or if your bias is on. Walk with me here. So this whole thing about Jay-Z and Reasonable Doubt being available at Target. Now, I haven't shopped at Target in 2 years. I'm not going back to shop at Target. But I do want to point out that every artist, their vinyls are sold in Target. They are. The thing is, Jay-Z is absolutely a capitalist and a get money nigga at heart, because he basically told Target, okay, cool, you can sell my vinyl, but I'm making an exclusive deal and I need to get money on top of that, on top of that, on top of that, right? And the vinyl is still available on his website. The vinyl is still available on the Jay-Z 30 website, as everything else has been, like over the past, I don't know how many months he's been dropping stuff on his website through Roc Nation. So I don't even understand why Target is giving him this exclusive deal and giving him this extra money, because it's like the vinyl is still available on his website for all the people who do not want to shop at Target. I don't know what to say. Now, this is my thing too. Yes, Jay-Z is a capitalist. Jay-Z does do a lot for his community. And I think he has gotten to the point where he just don't give a fuck what y'all got to say, because y'all do have selective outrage when it comes to him and his wife. And I do think it's interesting when you are making videos about Jay-Z and how you're upset that he has this deal with Target, even though, like I said, the vinyl is still available on his website as well if you don't want to get it from Target. So it's not really exclusive. When I see certain videos and then I see a whole bunch of non-black women or women in general saying nasty and nefarious things about Beyonce, and this is supposed to be about Jay-Z, I find that kind of interesting. When I know that you shop at Whole Foods and you make videos about it, but you're talking about Jay-Z and Target, I find that interesting. It does look like selective outrage. And then didn't Samara just do a whole thing about Target and their plus size tax, which they're wrong for that? It was still an advertisement for Target. It just feels like people wanted to attack him because the fact that the vinyl is still available on his website, crazy. Also had other black people come out and say the boycott at Target is over. I'm still not going. I'm still not shopping there. I just don't like the selective outrage, and it makes it seem like y'all just got something against him and his wife, which makes it seem like what you say you really care about, you don't really care about. And if your comment section is full of non-black women saying nefarious and mean things about a black woman, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, sister.
But apparently they can get.
All right, so let me just say this. I don't agree with the term selective outrage. I think Jay is being tone deaf with this one, gang. I'm going to keep repeating this. I'm going to keep repeating this. It's not selective outrage. I think that term, I've heard a couple people say that, and they're starting to spin that narrative. I think those are the people defending Jay. Jay is the biggest artist right now that has anything to do with vinyl and because Drake ain't dropped no vinyl, right? But Jay is a massive artist doing a massive rollout for a record that's going to be very, very sought after. And Jay is supposed to be one of us with all this cultural cachet. We do have to hold Jay accountable, gang. This is my point. When you're saying selective outrage, that means you have no right to be outraged. No, we have a point to be outraged, and that's what I'm saying when I say it's two ways to look at this. But when you ask me, it's tone deaf and he's wrong, right? But if you listen to her, it's other people doing it, this, that, and the third, which is true. So it's like I said, I'm not going to argue with nobody's opinion, but when you want my opinion, it's tone deaf, and Jay-Z's just doing what Jay-Z does. You got to think he's looking at it from a business point of view. Target is where most people get their vinyl, so he's going to do a deal with Target, right? The problem is the word exclusive. That's where everybody is having to hang up on. That's where everyone's having to hang up on. Exclusive. And I think we're getting right there because now it sounds like, oh, he did it only with only with Target. Right? That's where the problem is coming. And that's when you make it sound like that, then it sounds like that. Right? So I'm going to say this over and over. I think it's tone deaf to put your stuff in there exclusively, right? If you're going to say, okay, the vinyl's available everywhere, and just so happens to be in Target too, then that's a different conversation. If you're going to say the vinyl's exclusive to Target, then now we say, hold up, Jay. We sitting up here trying to boycott, and you making an exclusive drop in Target. It's not smart. All right? It's not a good idea. It's just that is a fact. That's not debatable. People are coming out saying, okay, Jay, we understand it's other companies that ended their DEI, and it ain't just we understand that we don't even know if the actual boycott is even still going on. So it's a lot of people defending Jay. But if I'm Jay and I know that there even was a boycott over DEI, it is not a good idea, just factually, because then you get this, right? Then you get this. Now, in DOT's defense, right? GNX, the Fall Off, and SSFU had Target exclusives. Who's tone deaf? One or all of them? Well, GNX came out before the actual boycott. GNX came out in, I believe, November 2024, if I'm not mistaken. Boycott didn't happen until 2025. Some Sexy Songs for You had Target exclusives. I don't know. Well, we've never. What do we expect from Drake? So we can't even add Drake into this, right? We don't expect Drake to have any tone at all. So tone deaf isn't even the question when it comes to Drake. So what are we talking about? We've never looked for him for cultural anything to uplift or so I don't even understand that one. And the J. Cole one, okay. Now you cooking. Now you cooking. And what and I'm going to play a little bit of the. I got two more I want to play. But we do say there is a right now. You got to think Jay-Z is pissed off a lot of people in the last couple of weeks, right? So there is a little bit of sauce on it. But J. Cole did the same thing. J. Cole did the same thing. Ain't no excuse. But you got to ask yourself, why didn't nobody say nothing when Cole did it? That's the real question. He's tone deaf too, but wasn't no outrage. Right? You cooking KP and you don't even understand why. You don't understand why. You cooking because you pointing out something that we need to understand. Is it really just business as usual? Or is it because Jay-Z did it? Right? Like I said, I don't care one way or the other what people think. I told you, and I'm going to keep telling you, it's optics is for the optics is bad, for the culture is bad, for black people, it don't look right, it look terrible. And I'm going to keep saying that. Because every time I give you an alternate fact, then there he goes. I knew he was going to start coping. He's disingenuous. No, I'm not disingenuous. I just told you I don't agree with the move at all. But there two things can be true. Okay? So, right here, and there's a lot more with Jay. Jay makes historically bad decisions in regard to the culture. And I'm going to get to the company man's video. Historically bad decisions for us, but for him, they're great because he's rubbing elbows with these guys and doing this, that, and the third. He's on a quest to be a billionaire, and he's not being shy about it whatsoever, right? So, but for the people that's still here, right, that's going to say, homeboy's scared to give his opinion, I'm going to have to give it 15 more times. Because people, you can't tell them stuff. You got to regurgitate what they want to hear, right? It's a bad move. It's tone deaf. Jay shouldn't have did it. Yada, yada, yada. I could do this all day. I can say that all day. And I've said it before. He's been tone deaf quite a few times. All right? But at the end of the day, there are levels to everything. There's more to the story. Let me finish this video, and I think we're almost done.
A version through his website as well. But where they can get the Reasonable Doubt album is not so much the issue. The issue is why Jay decided to get involved in the boycott against the people when he know what the situation is. Is it money over the culture at this point? So why is Jay, when he got all the money, deciding to help the corporations be the mediator in between the culture in these corporations that we have the issue with? In between the NFL situation that did not look favorable to the culture, even though Jay did well out of it, here we go again, getting in the way of Target to try to help Target get back to us buying stuff in their stores. We are uninterested and we're looking at you a little sideways, and I don't want to have an issue, but you kind of leave us no choice with this situation.
So when I first heard about this, I couldn't believe it. So I had to go online and confirm it. But apparently Jay-Z has a deal with Target. You know, he has an exclusive deal to sell the 30th anniversary edition of Reasonable Doubt through Target. And this obviously is very controversial. We know that many black people, including myself, are protesting and boycotting Target because of its anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. It's like they use these black faces in high places to try to deceive black people, to make us think that all is well with Target now. You can go back to Target and start buying and shopping in Target. That's what they're using this man for. That's what he is allowing himself to be used for. Just like he allowed himself to be used to get people to continue to support the NFL at a time when people were rallying behind and supporting Colin Kaepernick. They use these black faces in high places to deceive the people. They use people that have some kind of respect in the community to trick the people, to deceive the people, to bamboozle the people. And it's just a damn shame that Jay-Z is allowing himself to be used this way. At the end of the day, this is just another reminder that these black capitalists are not an answer to our problem. They are part of our problem. They are. They are not any kind of revolutionary. They are a part of the very system that's exploiting and oppressing black people. And they try to make it appear as if they are some kind of revolutionaries or they're some kind of pro-black people, when in fact they are nothing but perpetuators and protectors of a system that oppresses and exploits black people. And Jay-Z is no different. And the thing is, we will continue to have sellouts like this in our community as long as there are no consequences for selling out. In fact, often people are rewarded by the system for selling out. They're given titles, they're given positions, they're given money to completely sell out and abandon their people. And black people do nothing about it. In fact, some black people support.
Now, is Jay allowing himself to be used as a pawn in this game? Jay's too smart to be unwillingly used as a pawn. He feels being used as a pawn is the most profitable position to be in, regardless of how us, the culture, looks at it, which speaks a lot about the character of the man that we held in so high regard from an MC standpoint and as a businessman. But is there no limit? What do you guys make of this? You tell.
All right, so salute to the homie Marcus at work. That was his video. Go over there, get in the comments, tell him you love it or whatever you want to say. But I have absolutely no argument, no defense with anything in that video. I am not here, once again, I am not here to defend Jay in the slightest, right? I see you guys going at it in the comments, man. Be kind to each other, gang. This is a very passionate issue, right? So I'm gonna keep it pushing. So now, right, what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna show another video. I'm going to show another video, and I just want, because it's so much to unpack. Like I said, I am not going to be giving a whole lot of my own opinion of this, that, and the third. I'm just going to be giving you the facts because I feel like there's a lot to discuss, and there's a lot more to the story. So Company Man did a very, very well educated video as well. And I want to get to his video, right? I'm going to react to his video and we're going to have a conversation. Let me see if I can get to the right part. Boom. And I'm going to show this video because there's more there is more to say in regards to this issue. All right. His video is called Jay-Z Did It Again, and the timeline is damning. Let's get into this one.
Incredibly viral interview with GQ earlier this year, conducted by Fraser Tharp. Shout out to Fraser. 1 second applause. He also performed at the Roots Picnic, dropped a freestyle that was heard around the world, getting retribution for all the people who have put him on the defensive, and now he's on the offensive. And speculation has been that Hov was going to drop another album this year. We still haven't had that announcement yet. He has 3 shows coming up at Yankee Stadium, and he also has announced a show in Paris and a show out here in Los Angeles that's coming up. But part of the discussion that we've been having around Hov is, when he puts out a new album, how is he going to put it out? And a lot of people speculate that he's probably just going to partner with a company because Jay-Z can't look like he's doing 90,000, 180,000 sold for an album. Should this happen? That has not happened yet. But we did receive a new announcement today, and it was announced that Jay-Z is releasing a 30th anniversary album of Reasonable Doubt, classic album. 1 second applause. And that he is doing a special vinyl colorway edition with Target.
Tomato.
Now, for those of you unaware, Target has faced multiple boycotts recently, most notably over the rollback of its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and its alleged lack of response to federal immigration enforcement in its hometown of Minneapolis. Minneapolis has been having crazy ICE raids. Big story early this year. Hasn't been in the main news as much, but things are pretty hectic on the ground in Minneapolis, and that is Target's headquarters. So for these reasons, people have boycotted Target. And here comes Jay-Z with a exclusive release with Target.
Tomato.
Here's Black Enterprise. Jay-Z's partnership with Target sparks debate with Black consumers. Some online users are criticizing the hip-hop billionaire for partnering with Target for the release of the 30th anniversary edition of Reasonable Doubt. Complex reported that Target is releasing an exclusive anniversary edition of his 1996 debut album, Reasonable Doubt, featuring commemorative packaging and a unique vinyl color variant, and previously unreleased versions of select tracks. While some fans welcomed the special 30th anniversary collector's release, others requested Carter's decision to partner with the retail giant, which has faced lingering backlash and an ongoing boycott. Pastor Jamal Bryant and other Black social justice religious leaders have called on the Black community to stop shopping at Target after the retailer rolled back several diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So that is part of the drama. And so people are very upset, because if you look at things, it looks like Hov has a history of doing this. For example, in 2011, in the middle of the Great Recession, when everybody seemed to have lost their house, there was a major Occupy Wall Street movement. And so people got together, they camped out in New York City in a park on Wall Street, and they were protesting Wall Street and its influence over Main Street. How we tend to bail out billionaires before we will help regular working class people. And so it was a massive movement. It was called Occupy Wall Street. It was huge. And while that movement was going on, Jay-Z shows up with this, Occupy All Streets. And this is Jay-Z, Fat Joe, and Fabulous. And it's the Occupy All Streets t-shirt that he was selling. This Guardian article says, Jay-Z is wrong to occupy all streets. For any image or symbol or creative act to mean something, it has to touch something deeper, connect to something true. Jay-Z, writing about wearing the Che Guevara t-shirt in Decoded. As a Jay-Z fan, I find myself depressed and a little angry. Sean Carter and his Rocawear company have decided to create and sell a t-shirt ostensibly supporting the Occupy Wall Street protests, and while perhaps not actively planning to keep all the proceeds for themselves, don't intend to disclose if any money will be donated to the cause they're trading off. And yet, also as a Jay-Z fan, I have no right to be surprised. If his 15-year career has revealed anything about the man, is that he's determined, self-reliant, and focused on making money. So why do I expect something better?
All right, let me stop right there. So this is one of the things that disappointed me about Jay-Z. Right? I didn't like this move. This was way back, right? I think he said 2012. If I'm not mistaken. I believe he said 2012, something around that time. I could be wrong. But again, for those watching and paying attention, I have criticized Jay-Z several times. I am not afraid of criticizing Jay-Z. So just so we know we on the same page. I'm not scared. I'm not like I'm not coping, this, that, and the third. When it's warranted, I'm going to criticize. And I've been doing it for years, right? Just so we can be on the same page, right? And this was one of those moments where the Occupy All Streets, I had to shake my head and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" It's a very long time ago. So at the end of the day, I think Hove looks at stuff as opportunities. And I think he looks at things as, gang, I'm gonna be, let me just say some real shit. Street hustlers, they're not the greatest of people in a lot of ways. They're good to some, in some ways. Yeah, they do turkey giveaways for Christmas and Thanksgiving is down the third. And then the rest of the year, they're selling crack and shooting people, gang. So they ain't always on the same page as everybody else. All right, and Jay-Z, this is my guy, but that's an admitted, he was out there living that life. And in their mind, they think of ways to do things that's going to benefit them. They think of stuff that's going to change. When the narrative gets hot, they want to spin it and try to make it some kind of way that they can get a bag from it. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And we ate that up. We ate that mantra, and that mind stayed up for 30 years. And in the end of that article, what they said is, why would I expect anything different? At some point, you may not like the decisions, but you can bet your ass that person's going to make them. And like I just said a little while ago, how mad can I get about someone who's told you over and over, I am a hustler, I do things for money, right? So it is a bad way to think, right? It's very self-centered. But to the fact of a person just trying to be rich in and of itself is self-centered. No one has to be rich, right? No one has to be rich. You don't need to be rich to exist on this earth. But a lot of people go out of their way to do it. And that's part of the point. That's part of the point. He can only do what we allow him to do. And we've allowed it for 30 years. But that's not the part that people are focusing on. They want to keep, Jay did this, Jay did this Occupy Wall Street thing. What was that? Damn, a long time ago, right? And he has not stopped doing things that's going to, end of the day, yeah, he may shake it up for everybody else in some roundabout way, but at the core of it, it's going to be what Jay needs to do for Jay. And he's never strayed away from that.
That point's going to come back later in this discussion. We're going to check this next paragraph and then we're going to move on. The CEO of several successful companies who has rapped on various occasions about his desire to be taken seriously by America's business elite. Jay-Z is in...
Pay attention. His desire to be taken seriously by America's business elite. If you listen to Jay-Z for any amount of time, you hear all the times that he say, I got to show these crackers that I make as much money as them. That's his number one goal. Is when the smoke clears, he need to be standing toe to toe with them, so they can't say that they make more than him and he's not relevant. That's important to him. That's not important to me and you, but that's important to him. And that's how he gets this cultural cachet, because he's always out there fighting to get another dollar. And a lot of these black people respect that. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And a lot of people that's not black respect that. So that's how he got here to where he can do these big deals, because he talks all this power talk. And people like to hear that. But then when he does things that make him more powerful, we cringe and say, how could you? Like, we got to understand, listen, either we going to accept it or we ain't.
Unlikely Occupy Wall Street supporter, almost certainly a member of the 1% rather than the 99, expecting him to donate commercial earnings to a protest movement aligned against the capitalist system that served him so well seems faintly ridiculous. Ideological consistency is an overrated virtue in an artist anyway, and major rap stars are the last people to look for revolutionary credentials.
Right there. Let me just get right there. Me, I am an idealist. I everybody to get a piece of bread, a container of milk, a stick of butter, right? I'm almost a socialist, gang, right? I am for everybody to eat. That's just who I am. That's what I'm cut from, right? Everybody don't think like I think. It is what it is. I think that you should be doing stuff in a community effort for the most part. For the most part. And everybody don't think like that, and everybody don't move like that. Once you do stuff for them, they start getting selfish, this, that, and third, but it is what it is. End of the day, to me, I don't see the need to hoard so much. Yeah, you want to have nice things. You want to have a pool in your yard, this, that, and the third. But I don't see the need to hoard so much. That's just me. That's how I think. So any concept that leads to hoarding a bunch of stuff, I can't personally get with it. Yes, I want to have a car and a house and nice things. Yes, but I don't want to quadruple the size of my house and have 7 houses can fit in there. That's not how I think. Right? But this person does. And we got to decide as a people how much of this we going to revere or how much of this we all set with. But the getting back and forth and mad and over and over, some of that at some point, you're doing the same thing, expecting different results. Let me continue.
So this doesn't seem to matter most of the time. But when artists stress their connection to the streets and the hood to the point it becomes a fundamental part of their commercial offering, perhaps fans have a right to question where they choose to draw those lines. Another exhibit for the defense is the garment itself. The t-shirt takes the movement's name and plays word games with it, literally crossing out the W and adding the final S to graffiti spray its new message, Occupy All Streets. It could be considered an act of creativity in the same way that a parody of a work of art constitutes a new work, not a derivative of the original. So why shouldn't Rockaware profit from it, even if they were not the first to come up with the slogan? It's not as if the t-shirt is making a definitively aligned political point. In this context, it's really just an extension of Brand J. The new phase could be interpreted even more broadly than the Occupy Wall Street protests and their inchoate aims. Is it more likely to be a call to arms against the financial elite or a blank canvas slogan that could mean different things to Jay-Z's audience? This is just Jay being Jay, wanting to have his cake and eat it too. And if he's eating someone else's cake while doing so, so be it.
So let me just speak on that right there. So that's basically in a nutshell telling you that Jay gonna be Jay. Now we don't gotta like it is what I'm telling you, right? We don't gotta like it. As a collective, we don't have to eat it, this, that, and the third. But somehow we do. A lot of people like that dog eat dog, kill or be killed. I'ma out hustle you. You ain't got the right car. You ain't got the right jacket. You ain't got the right hat. We gravitate to that too. And there's a reason that we think that that's cool. So at some point, we're kind of asking him to be this, but we don't want him to be it all the time. And we don't want him to be it when it's uncomfortable for us. It's weird. It's weird. Either you're going to say you like it all or you don't like none of it. Right? It got to be, there has to be a foot in the sand, per se. We want you to be this super confident businessman who's all about himself and about a dollar, but just don't do it when we're having boycotts. We got to make it make sense. He's showing you who he is. He's told you over the years.
Tomato.
This is what happened when working class people got together to fight against Wall Street, which gets so much money and support from Main Street, especially when those losses drop like the Dow Jones. But that was just one thing. That was Occupy Wall Street. That was 2011. That was 15 years ago. We saw similar critique.
Y'all heard that? 15 years ago was that Occupy Wall Street's debacle, which at that time I didn't agree. I didn't like that either. Gang, there's been several incidents. I told you I'm almost a damn socialist. So a lot of stuff Jay would do, I didn't agree. I'm okay with you talking that talk, the big Willie talk, this, that, and the third. We love it. That's something we do in the ghetto. We speak things into existence. We over exaggerate. We try to pretty much make things bigger, make ourselves feel bigger, and by making you feel smaller, believe it or not, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? But we like that to just be on wax. We don't want to really see the villain like in real life. We don't want to see the villain in action to get where he's got to be. Right? We don't want to really see that. We just want to hear you rap about it. But with Jay, you see it. And some of these things that he's chosen to do is what a hustler would do. Right, wrong, or indifferent. He wants that corporate respect. He's going to earn it by doing corporate things. They don't value people. They value numbers. So he's walking a thin line, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or anything. I'm just telling you what it is. And in many cases, I've shown you several times that I don't agree with it for the most part.
Similar critiques around that same time. Check this headline here. Jay-Z plans to open the Brooklyn Nets' new basketball stadium. And this was a big deal. The rapper is part owner of the National Basketball Association NBA team, formerly called the New Jersey Nets. This team will make its debut at their new home, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Jay-Z, who grew up in Brooklyn, told reporters he never imagined that someday he would own a basketball team. I think I'm the American dream, he said. That whole thing that you could come up here and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, like that whole thing that America has always put up to the world that we represent, I feel that, yes, I've lived that, right? So this is a big day for Jay-Z. But as you can see here, there was also a lot of controversy around this as well. Jay-Z opens Barclays Center as Brooklyn prepares to welcome the Nets. And here is part of the controversy. However, the Barclays Center has opened in the face of determined protests. It is the first stage in the massive Atlantic Yards development, which is heavily subsidized with public money and represents the biggest development ever tried in Brooklyn. However, proposed housing towers on the site, complete with affordable units for local residents, have yet to materialize, raising concerns that the needs of major corporations and profits for developers have been put far ahead of the interests of the local community. Perhaps a similar argument could be said about the Occupy All Streets. Here's Jay-Z, part owner of the Nets, the face of the franchise at that particular point in time, particularly as they needed to sell this new stadium. And while he's doing so, there are massive protests because people feel as though major corporations and profits for developers have been put far ahead of the interests of the local community.
All right, so before we move further, I just want to get to the comments. Salute to Rabia. I hope I said it right. I hope I ain't butcher. Says, "Hey Charles, what makes you not quite a socialist?" I don't like titles. I just don't really title myself. It's too much to say I'm one thing or the other because everything has nuance, which a lot of people don't like to have nuance. They want to be one thing and that's it. That's all. So it's everything has nuance, and I don't label myself things because it's too much nuance to go around being one thing or another, right? You might get me say I'm a rapper here and there, but I'm way more than just a rapper. I might say I'm a YouTuber here and there, but I'm way more than that. So I don't really go around labeling myself as anything. I have certain ideologies that I agree with, but I don't agree with everything of every title. So that's why. Salute. All right. That's it. Let me keep this push.
Once again, it's all happening.
Tomato.
Perhaps the most talked about one. Jay-Z helps the NFL banish Colin Kaepernick. This was a big deal. This was a huge deal in 2018. And so Colin Kaepernick in 2016, he began kneeling on the sideline of NFL games in protest of police brutality. Here's Jamel Hill with The Atlantic. Yesterday, hip-hop mogul Jay-Z and National Football League Commissioner Roger Goodell held a joint media session at Roc Nation offices in New York to seal a once implausible partnership that isn't being received as positively as both parties probably hoped. I assume neither Goodell nor Jay-Z expected to be on the defensive once the NFL announced that it would give the music mogul's entertainment company, Roc Nation, significant power in choosing the performers for the league's signature events, including the coveted Super Bowl halftime show. Jay-Z and Roc Nation also will help augment the NFL's social justice initiatives by developing content in spaces where players can speak about the issues that concern them. This wasn't just another routine example of Jay-Z living out a lyric he rapped nearly 15 years ago. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Instead, the rapper faced questions yesterday about why he chose to collaborate with the same league he publicly criticized for treatment of Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback who hasn't had an NFL job since taking a knee during the national anthem 3 years ago to protest police brutality and racial injustice. This is the same Jay-Z who showed support by Kaepernick by wearing his jersey on Saturday Night Live. On his mega hit song Ape Shit, Jay-Z rapped the lyric, "Once I said no to the Super Bowl, You need me, I don't need you. Every night we in the end zone, tell the NFL we in stadiums too. Now he's in business with the league.
And so, like I was saying earlier, it's a double-edged sword with the Super Bowl thing. Like a lot of people looked at it sideways this time the third, and what I was trying to say earlier when I got accused of coping, right, was that he got in there and we ended up getting more black people in the Super Bowl halftime show than we've ever had, back to back to back. We got some of the greatest performances. So yeah, it was a funny way to get in there, but we got a lot of productive events out of it. Dr. Dre, the first time Kendrick got on the Super Bowl was with Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, right? I thought it was one of the greatest. I thought it was one of the greatest Super Bowl performances until Dot did his, right? And we've had some of the most diverse. The one thing that they don't want is to have people up there being diverse and doing things this, that, and the third, right? So everything is not going to be the way we want it. It was a trade-off. It was a trade-off. And I feel like that trade-off, it may have cost him some cultural cool points, but in the end, it got him in position to control a very important narrative, which is how we appear on the world stage. All right, let me keep this pushing.
Kaepernick's girlfriend, Nessa Diab, wrote on Twitter that Kaepernick didn't speak with Jay-Z before he brokered his deal with the NFL. Jay-Z said yesterday that he spoke to Kaepernick on Monday, but he wouldn't divulge how their conversation went. A source close to Kaepernick, speaking on condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the topic, told me it was not a good conversation, but it was all smiles yesterday between Jay-Z and Goodell. And this is the quote here that pissed a lot of people off about this situation with the NFL and Jay-Z. By leaving Kaepernick completely out of the mix, Jay-Z is now complicit in helping the NFL execute its strategy. Now he is an accomplice in the league's hypocrisy. I think that we forget Colin's whole thing was to bring attention to social injustice, correct? Jay-Z said during the press conference. So in that case, this is a success. This is the next thing, because there's two parts of protesting. You go outside and you protest, and then the company or the individual says, I hear you, what do we do next? So for me, it was like action, actionable item. What are we going to do with it? Everyone heard and we hear what you're saying, and everybody knows I agree with what you're saying. So what are we going to do? So we should, millions of people, and all we get stuck on is Colin not having a job? I think we're past kneeling. I think it's time for action. I think we're past kneeling.
Tomato.
I think that's one of Jay-Z's most inarticulate moments ever. This guy is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. I'm not sure if he was ready for that moment. I think Charlamagne is the one who asked him that question. His answer was, I think we're past kneeling. So right after that, he ends up doing this album right here with Jay Electronica, a written testimony, because where do black men run when we get in trouble? We run to Islam. And then the next year is 2020. 2020 happens the same year as this album comes out, which is a year after this NFL meeting. And guess what America was not past? America was not past kneeling. I'll tell you that. There was a whole lot of kneeling going on. Second applause. So now we're at this place where it seems like there's a consistent pattern that whenever there's a working class movement or a movement for Black lives, Jay-Z is going to find a way to do a deal with the opposition in order for him to get paid. And this deal with Target isn't helping that perspective at all. It's not helping the perspective at all.
Jay-Z has consistently showed us time after time again that for him it's going to be partnership over principle. We remember when he backdoored Dame Dash, when he made those partnerships in his own favor. Then we seen when Colin Kaepernick was going through it with the NFL and ended up being blackballed. He didn't come to his defense. And now right in the middle of our very own people, his very own people, being in the middle of a Target boycott, he is partnering with Target. And so I think what the biggest issue is here, that we look for these quote unquote iconic people that so many idolize to be leaders. And for them, it's only about legacy building, and that's their own legacy. Forget the people.
Ooh, come on.
Their own legacy, forget the people. 1 second applause. I mean, look, I understand the nuance to this, right? First of all, there are other artists who still will do original deals or exclusive deals with Target. I think that all of those artists should take these things in consideration too. I think that if Drake is doing this, if Kendrick is doing this, if Travis Scott is, whoever's doing this, I think that needs to be included in how they release music as well. These type of things should be considered by everybody. I personally think that. I think with Jay-Z, it's a little bit different because he has a long history of doing this at this point in time. We're talking over 15, 16 years when it comes to Hov. This is a key part of his identity at this point. Plus, Hov could do this deal anywhere. This deal could be done anywhere. And there's a lot of people who like to talk about Kaepernick. After Jay-Z did this deal, reportedly Hov was still working to get Colin Kaepernick a tryout and get him back in the league. And when that tryout was set to take place, Kaepernick actually changed the venue of where the practice was going to be had, and he had a very antagonistic energy to him. That played a role in him not getting back in the league. At least that's how it's reported. And people say, well, look, Jay-Z tried to do all this for Kaepernick. How is that Hov's fault? I'm not saying that's Hov's fault at all. I think everyone in this situation has made whatever decision they wanted to make. But would Jay-Z be in the position to have this partnership with the NFL in the first place if Kaepernick didn't stand on principle and take a knee during the national anthem?
No, he wouldn't. Jay's run with the NFL was 100% due to Kaepernick taking that knee.
I don't have the answer to that question. More. Now here's B-Dot. He's on air with Angela Yee on the Way Up with Angela Yee iHeartRadio show here. He is also part of the Rap Radar podcast and has been a big defender of Hov. Here is his response to this.
You know what I mean? But like I said, it just feels like hypocrisy. Like Target still carries mad black brands and products. Like I think over 150. So are we going to boycott that?
Well, yeah, and I do know that there's people that have had deals before all of this DEI pullback has happened. So I think the concern is with him striking a deal, after that, and the ability to do that somewhere else.
And you can also get the vinyl at his website as well,
The exclusive white one?
Not the white one, but...
B-Dot, come on, you gotta stop doing that.
This is what I'm saying, right? It's like, yes, everybody does it, but this is an exclusive partnership, so there's a different angle on it. We also talked about this on the third verse.
All right, before you get to the third verse, that was something I was confused about, and I finally found out that word exclusive is real, because I was like, what does it mean exclusive if you can still get it somewhere else? We talked about this earlier. The exclusiveness, right, is the white vinyl with the extra songs on it. You can't get that nowhere else. If you want the white vinyls with the extra remixes and this, that, and the third, you got to get that at Target. So that is an exclusive deal that Jay-Z had to sign off on. Somebody could be like, well, a lot of corporations, they do that without the knowledge of the person, but I don't think Jay-Z is having anything that massive being signed off on by somebody else, and he did not know. So the exclusive thing is what the big problem is where he made it where you can only get it at Target, and we're like, come on, Jay, now you're making people go into Target, and we're trying to do a boycott.
Podcast this morning. Here's Sackwell. He was 100% wrong about was we were not past kneeling. We still had 2020.
But you're wrong with the Super Bowl and the Target thing. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
The Super Bowl, because
I didn't say Super Bowl, but
I'm saying the NFL.
Okay.
Because his what he was supposed to do is get people he was doing the shows. It's been nothing but color up there since he's been in there. And a couple of them, this Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar made incredible statements. And if you just look at it, it was definitely, they was clowning up there with some of the gestures, some of the things that would have never happened had he not been in that position. So I feel like I feel you on the Kaepernick shit, but you got to infiltrate the system to make a change in there. Okay.
But what change in the system did he actually make other than produce some concerts?
Well, the concerts, because the imagery behind it, you never know how that has influenced someone else that's seen that to be able to go out and stand up for something and for what they believe in that moment. We don't know how things impact people, what they see. Like Obama being the president, right? People say, oh, he didn't do nothing. He did, because he that imagery, and some black kid somewhere like, yo, I can be that. So these things are pivotal. Pivotal. Well, no.
All right, before we watch Stat struggle with that word, what's going on is he's right. What Stat is saying is we've been saying for years representation matters, and Stat is saying that by him allowing or getting in a position to get K. Dot on the stage, Bad Bunny on the stage, Dr. Dre on the stage, and whoever else he got on the stage. I don't remember everybody else offhand right now, but whoever else he put on the stage, that was a massive move, and it showed a lot of young black people that maybe one day I can be on the stage, and we deserve to be on the stage. When I was younger, there were a lot of things they didn't show us on TV. We weren't in a lot of spaces. Most of the shows were white people. Okay, when it was a black show, they made a real big deal out of it. Look at what we gave you guys. Look at this show, da da da. And the show had to do twice as good to stay on. Okay, so we went many years not being represented, just in all kind of ways. In a lot of ways, we were the criminal on the show, or the guy that needed the kids that needed to be saved by the white man who was going to adopt them. Like, it was these stereotypical roles that we weren't in positions of power for the most part. So when you get to get that, it's a big deal. All right, let me continue.
Pivotal.
Stat been struggling with that word for 3 weeks. 1 second applause.
Pivotal. Why can't I say that word, though?
Yeah.
These things are important in ways that we don't necessarily see now. So let me tell you about Target, and I'm gonna let you go. The Target situation is Dr. Brian do whatever. His whole point of doing it is to give black people opportunities to be.
So I see where Stat's coming from, right? You know, the representation is a weighty thing that I don't know if we necessarily give enough credit to. And I know that in an era where we're now working and expecting tangibles in a new way, representation feels like it's falling way short of what the ultimate goal is, right? And Stat's point here is that Jay-Z being in that position is a great example of being able to work with a corporation, show people who are watching this that you can find ways to partner with big organizations and put on shows that can be impactful to the community, particularly Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar. That's part of his point of view here. That's part of what Stat is talking about. And I actually largely agree. And I think that same principle now applies to Hov in a different context. We have now one of the greatest MCs of all time, one of the greatest black capitalists of all time. We have someone who has reached heights that most of us will never even get a chance to sniff the base of. But I think what people now also see with this, there is a pattern here with Jay-Z where it seems as though now he has become someone who is willing to undercut whatever real, tangible, on the ground social movements are happening for working people or people from his own community. He is willing to co-opt them, do partnerships with the ops in these situations, or find ways to capitalize on them for his own personal financial gain at best, and at worst for his own position of power. And I think that's also a problematic image and message to teach the future leaders of tomorrow.
All right, so that's company man. Salute to Justin Hunt, the company man. I'm a friend of his channel. He's a friend of mine. I've been on the Culture United several times now, and very respectable, honorable guy. I voted for him to be the #1 media guy in Complex News's nonsense media list, where they put academics as #1. Okay, so that's that part. So, and when he was talking about representation, I'm 100% for that. I really understand what representation means to us, because I had to learn it for myself when there was no one on TV representing me, except for like people in the ghetto. They would put you in the ghetto and give you all kind of shows doing some hood stuff. But also what he said is that Jay-Z will do what's best for Jay-Z in many situations, and nobody knows what Jay-Z's really thinking but Jay-Z. But on the outer layers, when you look at it and peel back, it looked like, damn, Jay, look at what we're doing. You coming in on a lot of times where we trying to make a real change. You came in on the Occupy Wall Street thing, right? When the artists were complaining about not being paid through Spotify, you came in with the title thing, making it like, oh, I got something big for you guys. And then it turned out to be that you sold it, this whole thing with the Brooklyn Nets, you came in and then, you know what I'm saying, it really only had like a 0.1% in it. And he got a lot of things shaken for the people who really owned it, then sold his 1 point of it. Like, you know what I mean? And then a lot of people moved into Brooklyn, and Brooklyn ain't the same, right? Then with this thing with this boycott with Target and whatever else, right? There's a whole bunch of things going on where it feels like Jay seemed to take an approach where let me get this opportunistic point off, and I can make a little change out of this, right? The last thing I want to show before I get out of here. I'm not going to show a lot of this one, but I think we did speak on this, but I just want to show a little bit of this. I probably shouldn't. I'm just going to be honest. I probably shouldn't, but I am going to show it because I think I said in the beginning there's a lot of moving pieces, and this is important as well. even though I do think Wayno was doing what you guys accused me of, which was kind of caping for Jay, trying to defend Jay. We had people coming at Jay, so I'm gonna let Wayno talk. Again, I feel like this part was a guy kind of trying to defend Jay-Z. But I am going to still show it because the little part that I'm going to show, I'm not going to show a lot of, is Wayno. I'm not going to show a lot of it. But this part is an integral part of the story. All right? So let me let Wayno say his piece. Like I said, we're doing all facts. I'm putting good, bad, or indifferent. I'm putting all the facts on the screen.
Started. Now, even with that being said, I wanted to turn to some of the other people who have products, not just products, but artists who have done vinyls and specific vinyls exclusive because they changed the color or whatever. Same music, but they, distributed through Target. One in particular was an album that came out this year, J. Cole's The Fall Off, Target exclusive edition, right? You have like a silver vinyl, as you can see in the picture. Then, of course, we have Kendrick Lamar, right? And the reason why I say of course is because big artists usually do these, deals with Target to distribute their physicals.
Hold on. Let me stop right there. I need to know, because I'm assuming that came out before the boycott, but I'm going to be 100% sure before I leave this live. 100%. We need to know. This is very important. It's very important. I need to know when those vinyls dropped in Target. This is very important. And then we can keep this pushing because we got a whole narrative here. And if we just dismiss Dot, then we got an issue. All right. Okay, gang. This is important, gang. And this is why it says Kendrick Lamar has dropped a few Target exclusive vinyl records over the years. The most recent being a gray vinyl variant for his Surprise GNX album, which was widely released on February 7th, 2025. All right. February 7th, 2025. Now, let's go back to this other page. The movement began in early 2025 to boycott Target. I'm just here to figure out the facts, gang. And she said, all right, gang, the plot thickens. She said in a video that I just watched, is in this Wayno video. I might even have to play it now. Right? I might have to play this, gang, because we got to have the facts. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The girl in the video, I'm just going to have to play it now because I wasn't going to play it. She said that they started the boycott, I believe she said, for February 1st, 2025. Kendrick dropped his vinyl February 7th of 2025. I'm just giving you the facts. Now, let me get to this thing because it's in this. I didn't want to play this part. But let me see this.
Jay-Z situation. I want to defer to a Breakfast Club clip that kind of goes into more context about the about the boycott. Because like I said, when boycotts start, I don't see people who on a general basis, right? On a general daily basis, niggas that get information or got information on how these things are working, newsletters, what people are supposed to do versus what they aren't. I feel like a lot of times black people look at shit like that's them, that ain't me. And we don't come together on the smallest things, let alone boycotts. But let's listen to some of these clips so we could further understand why people are upset.
So I started the national boycott of Target. The CEO of Target on January the 24th said that they were rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion. On January 25th, I was out with my organization, We Are Somebody, saying, okay, you do this, we're going to boycott you on February 1st. Called up my sister, Tamika D. Mallory T. We got the roll. She ain't asked no questions. We rolling. And we talked to Pastor Jamal Bryant on the faith side. He said, let's do the Target boycott. People started to conflate the Target fast. People started to conflate the Target fast with the boycott.
What's the difference?
That's the simple. The fast is an action for faith, to bring faith leaders in. It was aligned with Easter and how Lent, and we're supposed to give up some stuff. And it was the pastor's way of creatively bringing in the faith community, which was a good idea. The boycott is the movement itself. It's the umbrella. The fast was an action. So the fact that people conflated that and then left the sisters on the sideline, myself and Tamika Mallory, and we said the boycott is not over. The boycott is not over. As Charlamagne just laid out, there's some local leaders in Minnesota, in Minneapolis.
Nakima Armstrong and Monique Doty.
Yeah, them. And the reason why I say that is because they malign me and my sister Tamika's name, and it's just ridiculous that they would do something like that.
But they said they started the boycott nationally.
We got all the receipts. But what different? We listen. Why are they making that a point of contention? First of all, Target is a national corporation. So we got people in D.C. who has stood out, the D.C. Boycott Coalition, ever since the boycott started. They stood in front of the busiest Target in the District of Columbia every single Saturday. They put their body on the line. They could claim that they started it too. Target is a national chain. So why do they get any more claim than anybody else? Myself and Tamika and Pastor Brian, we are national leaders. So for the record, I need people to go check the receipts, but I also need you to ask the question as to why they want to make a big deal about this instead of being in the fold, of which Tamika tried to bring them in the fold, and they took their toys and they went another place and said that they were going to try to tear it down. The bottom line is check the receipts and check who has been doing the work, check who's been at the table. The boycott cannot be over and should not be over because we need to be respected by these corporations.
That was
All right, so that's the end of that situation. I'm not playing no more. We get it what Wayno said about he was going to go on to say that other people have dropped vinyls. Now, that Kendrick thing is way too close to the date. We can't confirm or deny or whatever because one lady said it was this, one lady said it was that. The vinyls were already in motion before the boycott. Probably already had them pressed and just sent it, da-da-da. But it still remains that there are other people's vinyls in the thing. So what we're going to do here, right, is just understand, right? He's screaming at me. I'm not reporting facts. I just played what the lady said, gang. I'm not, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on, but I just played a video from what the lady said on the Breakfast Club. I'm not reporting anything. All right, gang. So you're saying you're not reporting the facts though, but yeah, I don't know what you want me to do. I just played a clip from the Breakfast Club. She said her boycott started on February 1st, gang. I just played it. So I don't know what you want me to do, right? So end of the day, right? Lexicon said March 5th, y'all. So it is what it is. End of the day, it's not about that. It ain't about none of that. What it's about is I'm just giving you the facts of what they are saying that they did. That ladies boycott didn't set everything off. Everybody had different. It was 2 or 3 of them going at the same time, right? End of the day, all of them had their moments saying that it was this, that, and the third. And like I just said, Bing is right. The vinyls was in motion before the boycott. I ordered one, this, that, and the third. Don't shoot the messenger, gang. I'm just telling you what all the facts. You need all the facts. So you know. And I'm gonna say it again. I think Jay is wrong for this. This looks bad. This not good. The optics are awful, right? It is not a good look. And we as a people are trying to get somewhere. Right? We're trying to understand that as a unit, we need to accomplish things together. And this doesn't look good for Jay. Right? Doesn't look good for Jay. I'm going to be the first one to say it over and over again. I've tried to say it 100 times in this video, and I'm going to say it again because somebody's going to say it again. Challz, you coping, you're making excuses for Jay. I'm laying out the facts, and I'm telling you what it looks like to me. Right? I'm not picking no sides. I'm not saying this, that, and the third. To me, though, it looks bad. Right? It looks bad. Tiff is right. Just don't shop there if you don't want to. I don't know who y'all screaming at, but it is what it is. Okay? So end of the day, what we're seeing is Jay made a questionable move. For why he did it, I have no idea. But to me, if you're mad at Jay, I can't do nothing. I can't argue about that. If you're fine with it, I can't argue about that. I have no dog in your feelings or opinions about it. My opinion is it looked bad, Jay. You smarter than this. You know better than to do this. And everything can be just business as usual. Everything can be business as usual. Right? What they were trying to say by saying Dot had vinyls and Cole had vinyls and ASAP, I think, I don't know who else got excluded. They're trying to say, well, other people did it and it's business as usual. Right? So what I'm saying is this. It can't be, Hove. Not knowing what we know now, it can't be business as usual. That's it. That's all I gotta say about this situation. I see the chat. Y'all already let me know what y'all saying in the comments, right? Y'all already know this. I ain't got to say that. But there's gonna be more people coming that weren't on the live feed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right. I feel like Jay is getting to a point. We're getting to a point where it can't just be I'm gonna do it and you guys gonna eat it. Some stuff gotta fit what's going on, right? And at the same time, we gotta understand if a person is who they are, that's what it is, and we gotta not accept it. If we got an issue with it, then don't go in the Target. Don't go buy the album. Don't play no more Jay-Z music. Like, that's what you gotta do. If that's how you feel, don't follow him on social media. Don't hype him up. Don't do this. That's at this point is your decision, right? At this point is your decision. It is what it is. At this point, all you can do is your best thing for your people. And that's what I can do. Right? End of the day, it's what's done is done. You got to make your decision. Are you going to move forward? Or are you going to stay stuck here? Are you still going to boycott? Or are you going to go pick up some Tide Pods and some Downy, right? How much does it mean to you? Is it worth it? Is it over? Are we divided? Are we so divided? We get people out there to say they don't vote because it ain't going to matter because not enough of us voting anyway. So some people that's not going to care one way or the other, right? So end of the day, man, listen. Full Auto just said it. Vote with your wallet. Vote with your wallet. Right? And if you in the billionaires, then it is what it is. Right? It is what it is. And I see Cosmo screaming his head off, and it's not a third. That's fine. Everybody has their own opinion. I have no problem with any of it. Please believe me. I don't have no problem with people calling Jay out, calling him a sellout. That's Jay. He can defend himself or don't. I'm just telling you, it's bad. The optics are bad to me. This is yet another, in my opinion, optically. And what I was saying earlier is we don't always know what the motives are. Maybe some stuff, like somebody could be moving a certain way to cut the head off of somebody. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the move. The move could be, I'm doing this to get close enough so I can cut their head off. You don't know what it is, and we don't know. So I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. I'm not coping. I'm not caping. I can't say this enough. I don't agree with the move. I'm just giving you examples. All right, listen. Head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. They ship all over the continental U.S. All right. Wednesday nights, we back on our Dean. We go live on the What Show, me, TJ, and Fliz, 9:15, 9:30, lock in. I got a Patreon account. Head on over to my Patreon. You can join for free. All right. Peanut Butter Tim's is a new music video from me, TJ, and Fliz off the Web Project, lock in. Check that out. And gang, listen, every morning, weekday mornings, Monday through Friday, around 8 o'clock, I go live for my morning show. It's called This, That, and the Third. I haven't missed a morning yet. This is the third week. I complete the third week tomorrow. That'll be show episode 15, okay? Gang, listen, I'm out of here. I appreciate the people in the chat. I love the discourse. I love to hear what you guys think, no matter whether it's good, bad, or